Hello everyone and welcome to this episode of Weltengeist. This episode will be about the main religion of the Nevurian Empire surrounding a goddess you all might know already. The goddess of the sun, light and life called Avenal. This video isn't a full overview of the religion as we don't cover every legend, myth or backstories that are part of the religion's teachings, but I cherry-picked the most interesting and important parts for you. As you will see, we changed the art style to be able to publish videos more frequently as it was very time consuming and also costly with the previous style. Although the illustrations have been excellent, I hope you will enjoy this new art style as well. And yeah, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you enjoy my world building videos, as it would help me to grow this channel as we are close to 1000 subscribers already. That should be enough, so enjoy the video. The Nevurian Empire is home to multiple religions and belief systems. But as a pseudo-theocracy, there's only one major religion that is accepted and widely believed in, the religion of Avenal, which is also called Janeka, which essentially means the golden sun in Nevuri language. Believers of Janeka gather in huge temples made out of white and black marble stones with columns and engravings covered in gold. Gold in general is the most important metal for believers and for Nevurians alike, as it represents the sun and Avenal's greatness. Other acceptable materials that can be used for ceremonial purposes, if you cannot afford gold, are platinum, silver and any precious stone like marble and granite. Mirrors are another thing that I use to worship Avenal, because they play an important role in the religion, as their reflection is said to hold the light of Avenal and reflect it to her believers. They will honor her by placing mirrors in key parts of temples and cities. The less fortunate and poor people will often use mirrors and other reflective objects as a means of worship, like dirty glass or even metal pieces. But let's hope they don't get caught by the priest while doing it, because as the Janeka religion values power and wealth, most people show their following by wearing lavish jewelry, mostly made from gold and yellow topaz stones, which color represents the holy sunlight of Avenal. But the lower class rarely attends the temples, as they cannot spare gold and other precious materials to enter them. They will, however, carve idols of the god emperor or Avenal to try to gain a bit of good favor when leaving their mortal shell. Crafting idols and effigies of Avenal in unworthy material is seen as an insult, often punished by the priests and guards, usually by imposing disproportionate fees to already less fortunate. The so-called arts of kinetics, which is the magic in this world where one uses the own life force called Weltengeist to manipulate objects, is encouraged within the religion, as it is considered a symbol of power and strength. In Janeka religion, it is believed that Avenal is the reason behind the magic, and as such believe that their power is stronger during the day, as the sun is the source of power. And so the night is considered something dark and evil, and therefore the main antagonist of the Janeka religion is Avenal's brother, called Tanut, who is believed to be an evil entity that seeks to corrupt loyal believers, and that it must be the goal of loyal humans to stop him at all costs. It is said that Avenal banished Tanut into the nights after the Divine War, which is why nights in particular are considered to be dangerous. If you watched the episode about the Star Strider, you know this story already. I will link the video of the Star Strider here and down in the video description. It is also said that he brings the end of the world, first by destroying the moon, which is equivalent to Avenal's eye and symbolizes the prison of Tanut. And after that, he will consume the sun, signifying the beginning of the eternal night. And in this religion of Janeka, only the followers recruited in Avenal's holy army stand in the way of the eternal night and Tanut's reign. If the gods in this world were not real, one could easily argue that the fear of the night is probably the result of the origin of the Nevurian culture, which is based in a tropical rainforest, as tropical rainforests are known to be even more dangerous at night. And as a consequence of this fear of the night, children that are born during the day are often seen in a more favorable way than those born during the night. As you know, the moon symbolizes the eye of Avenal, which she sacrificed to protect humankind against Tanut, and so eclipses became a big part of religious ceremonies. So days where the moon passes in front of the sun are seen as a sign that the goddess herself is watching her believers directly. During those days, believers dress in their best clothing and bring lavish offerings to the temples, hoping to make an impression on the goddess and earn her favor. Some priests specialized in calculating the date of the next eclipse, preparing a whole week of festivities around this date. And so, in contrast to children born during the night, children who are born during an eclipse are seen in the most favorable way, as they are believed to be born under Avanal's gaze and are considered a gift from the goddess herself. Less fortunate people don't have many advantages when having children born during an eclipse, but some strong believers may sell these children to wealthy families in hopes of gaining more wealth and having a better place in the afterlife, as the eclipse children have a high status in Nevurian society. They also believe that the stars in the sky represent the soldiers of Avanal fighting back against the darkness of Tanut. Every night, starless nights are seen as a bad omen, and shooting stars are interpreted as soldiers falling to Tanut. A small prayer is made when a shooting star is seen to pay respect to the fallen soldier. Also, to pay respect to Avanal, believers will often be seen attending temples dedicated to the goddess, bringing offerings and money, which is made out of gold and precious metals. While in the temple, some will use their wealth to buy lights of Avanal, small candles made from different materials, giving the flame a specific color. The wealthiest are able to buy candles producing a bright and red light, while the poor will often only be able to afford candles producing a dark blue light. It is said that the offerings spent that way are given back to the person when entering the afterlife, helping them in joining Avanal's army. Talking about Avanal's army and the afterlife, we should note that the God Emperor is also an important figure in the Janeka religion, as he is Avanal's direct creation and serves as an emissary between life and death. But he is also the highest general in the eternal war, leading the war on both sides of reality, and so he decides who is worthy enough to join the eternal war, making him a judge for everyone who passes to the afterlife. Therefore, funerals are a very important part of the religion, as they determine how well the believers will be treated in the afterlife. It is a custom to use one's wealth in life to celebrate extravagant funerals, and the more lavish a funeral a person has, the more wealth they are believed to have when meeting the God Emperor in the afterlife. It is said that for men, their wealth transferred into the afterlife is used to prove their worth for weapons, armor and ranks in the Eternal Army. The more wealth they have, the higher rank they can climb in Avanal's army and get better weapons and armor as well. For women, it is used to convince the goddess that they are worthy of becoming a so-called Hand of Avanal, which is a spirit-like being that will guard and watch over the living descendants. These Hand of Avanal are also part of a worshipping ceremony for poorer people that didn't make it into this video. Less fortunate people or criminals are judged by the God Emperor to either be sent to Tanut or Raja. For followers of Avanal, going to Tanut is the ultimate punishment in the afterlife, as Tanut's realm is seen as a place of eternal torment and suffering, basically hell in this world. Going to Raja usually signifies an afterlife in an empty void, forever floating in emptiness, which isn't really better, is it? A follower without the possibility to join Avanal will often sacrifice an eye while on their deathbed, so they can pay for their sins and lack of wealth, being sent to Raja instead of Tanut. And also some may also be accepted in Avanal's army if they can persuade the God Emperor and join the Eternal Army, yet at a very low rank. You must know that a person is rarely cremated, as cremation would destroy their Weltengeist and so their soul, making the believer useless to Avanal in the afterlife. Cremation is only reserved for people who committed serious crimes such as murder. For example, a religious death penalty used by priests of Avanal is to tie a person down on a symbol of the goddess and let them be scorched by the sun, usually until death occurs. This is said to purify one's soul and give them even the slightest chance to join the eternal army, because this punishment is only reserved for people committing horrendous crimes. But let's improve the mood of this video and let's talk about some celebrations and festivals. The birth of the God Emperor, for example, represents the beginning of the Nevurian calendar and is an important date for all believers as well as everyone in the known world, as the time calculation in civilized nations is based upon this calendar. Although it is not a real religious celebration, all Nevurians acknowledge the date as the rebirth of their civilization and humankind in general. But besides the birth of the emperor and the celebrations during an eclipse that we already talked about, the believers of Avanal will celebrate two other special events during the year: the solstice. These are days where the sun is so high above their heads that there are almost no shadows. They are believed to be the days where Avanal is at her strongest. On the first day, priests will only wear gold jewelry and will parade through the city, and people will throw smaller gold coins on the ground, creating a shiny path for the priests to walk on. These coins are then gathered and offered to Avanal as a pledge from the city and in hope that the goddess will bless and protect them. On the second day, later in the year, they will celebrate the Deceased, and their attire would be more modest. They would wear pearl jewelry to represent the stars instead of gold. A more common ceremony is during a full moon, where priests will have a special celebration to commemorate Avanal's powers, reaching them even during the night. Followers will make gold and mirror offerings, thanking Avanal for her watchful eye. As you see, there's a lot of stuff going on, and there are even different interpretations of the legends, myths and backstories of this religion that we didn't even talk about, by the way. There are even several schools of thought, often depending on the standing within society. The most prominent and popular one dictates that wealth should be gathered on an individual basis. Each person has their own worth, and more wealth also represents stronger religious beliefs as well as a desire to please Avanal. Some others, rarer, believe that everyone should be given the proper wealth and power to ascend and join Avanal in the afterlife. They believe that the richest should give enough to the poor so they will join Avanal as well, and think all believers should have the same privileges, and they believe that their collective way of thinking would allow more wealthy soldiers to join Avanal, resulting in a stronger army in the afterlife and more soldiers instead of generals. I hope you enjoyed this episode about the main religion in Nevuria, and obviously there's a lot more to tell about like all the legends and myths which are based on the so-called journeys of the God Emperor, which are describing his adventures and his teachings in his younger years. If you want to know more about it, just leave a comment, and if you have questions, to do so as well. Also, special thanks to the new artist Alcedors and all the kind people on my Discord and people who support me with correcting the scripts or giving feedback and critique on the artworks. If you didn't join the Discord yet, you can find the link in the description, and see you in the next episode of Weltengeist. Bye.